Welcome guys back to another stream. Can you believe we are on the 19th of July already? It's kind of hard to keep up with how fast time is flying by, and I'm sure you guys can experience the same. Well, I want to welcome you guys today to this episode where we are going to be diving into power chords and kind of show you a couple of cool things that you can do with power chords as it relates to worship guitar playing. And if you are new here, please let us know where in the world you are dialing in from, and if you're a first-time viewer, and if you're a return viewer like Vicky and James have already told us, please go ahead and let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from. All right. We should be good to go now. Sometimes we have a delay, and I'm just trying to sort that out real quick. Fantastic. So let me know if you can see me all right, if you can hear me all right. It looks like all of the sounds and everything is working fine. And let's go ahead and just test out our second angle to make sure that is also coming through nice and clean. And then we'll do a quick sound check on the guitar here. I think I can go up a bit. All right, so if you can hear me and see me, do me a favor and let me know in the comments. If you can hear and see that all good. We've got a couple of folks tuning in, and we've got, let's go ahead, and we've got Margar saying hello from Nepal. Great to see you on the stream. I don't think we've had someone from Nepal before, so that's really awesome to see you. We've got Alan tuning in from Alabama, and James Taylor is letting us know that everything is sounding great. Well, I'm really happy to hear that. That means we are A4 away. All right, so one thing that we do on this channel is obviously we focus on chord voicings a lot, so that you know what to play, how to play it, and really find the way to get the most value out of your chord shapes. So we're going to be diving into that today, and we're going to be jamming over a track. I mean, Jacobus is saying hi from South Africa. Hey, Jacobus. I think I can make these a little bit bigger. Always good to see the profile pictures from everyone tuning in. So Jacobus is on our team, working with Kenan and Christy on all of the WGS side of things. So you guys probably get to deal with them via some of this customer support sections as well. And we've got Vilov tuning in from Indonesia. Awesome, great to see you, and welcome to the stream as well. I'm just gonna go ahead and check out one final thing to make sure that we are A4 away here. That all looks good. So for today, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into a video that we posted on Tuesday, which is all about power chords, and you feel free to go and watch that. And what we've got for you over here is today, if you want to go ahead and grab a PDF, you are welcome to do so. This is the PDF right here, which is what we're calling our cheat sheet. We'll be going over this today. So we've got a power chord cheat sheet. There's the video that we posted on Tuesday. And this is a 17-page PDF where we've gone ahead and listed out all of the shapes. So I'm going to be giving you some additional things that we didn't get to cover in our main video over there that we're going to be able to do in our stream here today. So if you want to grab that, you can go ahead and I posted the link in the description. It's also posted in the comments section, so you can go ahead and grab that. And then there is the link on screen right now as well. So if you want a clickable link, just go ahead and find the link in the description of this video. Open that in the new tab and just let us know where we can go ahead and send that URL or that PDF for you. We've got Alex tuning in from Uganda and Charlie Gomez tuning in from Argentina. Well, guys, it's really a global audience. We are alternating these times. So next Friday, the stream will happen 5 hours earlier. Let me just do my math. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 5 hours earlier next week. So we can get a time that is a little bit earlier for our Australian friends. All right, so enough chit chat. You know where to find the URL of the PDF that I've just given you. So let's go ahead and dive into today's lesson. Now, when it comes to chord voicings, I mean, the guitar, you literally have, I don't think I'm over-exaggerating, but you've got almost what seems to be a limitless amount of options when it comes to the kind of voicings that you can use and how you can combine progressions and voicings and so forth. Because if you think about it, we have 12 notes in Western music, right? 12 notes, 5 black keys and 7 white keys, if you look at it on the piano. And with just those 12 notes, that basically makes up the majority of the music in the world that we know from a Western music point of view. Of course, there's other ways as well, but we're going to kind of stick to the Western side of things. Now, when you are playing worship on a Sunday, you've got to have your voicing game dialed in, because if you are going to use the wrong chords, your playing is not going to cut through the mix, and you're not going to be able to find a good way to kind of get through things. So in order to solve that, one thing that we teach often is what we call our 4-2 voicings. So G, C, E minor, D, G, C, E minor, D, G, C, E minor, D. All right, those voicings are the go-to voicings that I would totally recommend anybody to learn. And they are awesome, but sometimes you want a little bit more power, and that is where power chords come in, and I'm going to go ahead and show you that. If I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick jam for you over a backing track here that is in the key of G, and it's 1, 4, 6, 5, so the chords will be G, 1, 4, C, 6, E minor, 5 is D. So what I'm going to do the first time, I'm going to play our 4-2 voicings. We teach about that quite often on the channel. And then after that, I'm going to go into some power chords. I'm going to go to a range of different power chords, which we're going to cover right as soon as I stop playing. So check this out. 4-2s to start with. Then we're going to go ahead and follow that up with power chords. Power chords now. different style power chords. Another different one. I'll go back to my 4/2s. So as you can see, a bunch of different approaches to what I've just played, keeping things super simple, but sometimes you want to be able to pull in chords that are just a little bit bigger and fatter that can go ahead and give you that sense of power. Now we call power chords fifths, and I'm going to show you that in a second. So let's go ahead and cut to the iPad over here. And hey Norman from Uganda, great to see you. Welcome back, welcome back. All right, so what is a power chord? Now, if you already know what it is, we won't spend long on this, but I'm going to just show you a couple of interesting things right now. If we take the G major scale, which will be G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Those are my 7 notes of the G major scale. When I play all of these notes together, and by the way, you can also see, you can call that 8 as well. So it's 8 letter names apart, which is your octave. Okay. When I play a triad, then it's going to be 1, 3, and 5 together. So it's G, B, and D. And then on my guitar, if I go ahead and play that for you, G, B, and D, G, B, D, or B, D, G, or D, G, B. These are my triads. Right now, a triad, like I just said, is when we play all 3 of those notes. And when I play that as a B note, it's going to be a major triad. And when I make this B note, by the way, if I'm just going to go and flatten that, I'll show you that as well. That's going to turn this into a minor triad. So if I go G, B, D versus G, B flat D, or B flat D, G, or D, B, G, B flat. D, G, B flat. These are my minor triads, right? And my major triads. So what happened there is I've got a lot of information in my triads when I'm playing this note. Whether I'm playing this as a B note, like that, or whether I'm playing that as a B flat note. This note over here, my third, that note is the one that determines whether my chord is major or minor. But if I go ahead and I take that away and I just play the root and the fifth, most of you already know this, right? The root and the fifth, that's going to give you what we call a G5. Okay. And that on the guitar will now look like this. G and D, G and D, G and D. That is a power chord, G and D. So folks might say, okay, great, I get it. That's G and D. It's boring. It's just 2 notes. But check this out. If I'm going to go ahead and show you, and this is the PDF that you can get when you go to that URL that I showed earlier, I can get what's known as an open power chord. So over here, I'm playing that G5 that you can see right at the top. It's not a G like a cowboy chord. It's not that. It's, I'm muting the A string, and then I'm playing my chords like this. So I can play G like that. I can also play G like this, which is what I've just shown you, with 2 notes. G and D. I can play G and D with 2 notes, G and D, G and D. All right, and I can also do G and D or G and D, just with 2 notes as well. A lot of you might recognize this shape as one of our 4/2 voicings. That's really a power chord, right? Now, those are 2-note power chords. I can also get, I've already shown you those. I can also get what's known as inverted power chords. And let me go ahead and find that so I can show that to you. And we'll play these progressions shortly. An inverted power chord is, instead of me playing, let's go back to the iPad just for a second. Instead of me playing a G note with a D note on top, I can now actually go ahead and move my G note to be on top and then get rid of the lower G. And when I get rid of that lower G, now my 2 notes are D and G as opposed to G and D. It's the same 2 notes, but can you see over here, my G is the lowest note there, and this one, the G is the highest note. This is what we call an inverted power chord, because as you can see, we've basically taken the note that was on top, we put that at the bottom, and vice versa, right? What's cool about that is you are now able to go ahead and do this. Instead of playing G, and D, you can play D and G. And that is really cool. It's a different sound. And what's going to happen, and I'm going to show you that in our PDF over here so you can see why you want to have these different options at your disposal. When you are only playing G like this, to C like that, to E minor like this, to D like that, it's the same shape over and over, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if I do this G to C to E5, which in this case, there, and D. Can you see how that cool shift from this would be a D chord to a G chord? And let's go ahead and find that section that I can go ahead and play for you right now. So here you can see I've got G, then I've got C over G, then I've got E over B and D over A. These are just inverted power chords. I'm going to play this track one more time. The first time I'm going to play the same shape like this. And then the second time I'm going to play the inverted power chords. Just listen to how much fatter those power chords sound when I do it like this. So here's the high power chords. One more time. Now I'm going to do those inverted power chords. To the other one. Can you hear the big difference, right? It's a small change, but by playing G to C, E5 over B, D over A, or you can get some more interesting sounds when you know how to arrange just those 2 notes. So let me know if you have any questions, if that makes sense as it relates to using inverted power chords in your playing, just to introduce a different sound. So we've got Costa saying, good to see you again. Just practice for a wedding service I'm having tonight. Very excited and looking forward to tonight. That's awesome. I hope it's a great wedding and I hope the playing goes super well. I remember playing at a wedding as well. I've done it twice and it's quite a big responsibility because it's someone's special day. So good luck with that, Costa. And we've got John from South Carolina as well. Hey, John, great to see you again. So those are our power chords as it relates to just two notes. I can either have the G note below and then my D note above it like I've shown you, or I can invert those and I can flip it around. When you do that, you get some more interesting versions of playing the power chords and it just gives you a different sound. Even what I've just done is I've done 3 different approaches. Is I could play 4 two voicings. Or normal power chords. Or inverted power chords. Big difference. Or open power chords. And you might ask, well, why does it work so well when you just play the open power chords and it doesn't sound messy and muddy like you typically have when you play open chords? Well, it's because of this reason. Let's go back to that first page so you just can go ahead and see what we did over there. By muting some of those strings that we don't want to hear, there are the 5 chords in front of you right now. So I'm playing a G5. Even though there's 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can you see it's only 2 notes? It's a G and a D, a G and a D, and a G. When I went to the C5, it's a C and a G, a C and a G. Every time it's the root and the 5th, the root and the 5th. If you're a Star Wars fan, so those first 2 notes, that's what we call a perfect 5th. And that's how you do it on 1 string. Alright, so now I've got, instead of this, which sounds cool, but listen to this, so much brighter, right? And that's just a different color and a different flavor that I can have for C5 when I play over a song. And then but if I play this as a normal C, that doesn't sound nice. It's too muddy. The notes aren't ringing through. But when I play it as written on that PDF, it's got a lot more bite and it's crisp and clear. Then for the E5, it's E, B, E, B, E. And I'm muting that G string, as you can see, with the X behind the nut for that E5 shape. If I play that like a normal E minor and I don't mute that G string, that G makes the note muddy, but like that it's not muddy. And in this instance, check what's happening there. We've got a D and an A, a D and an A. But can you see what's written? It says D5 over A. And that basically just means that I am playing an inverted power chord. So there's many different ways in which you can go ahead and explore with these power chords. Sometimes you don't want to do the 4/2 voicings. You're just looking for something with a little bit more power and a little bit more bite, because then you can go ahead and experiment with those things from a different point of view. So that whole PDF, together with, it's almost a 30-minute video that we've done, is available for you. The 30-minute video is on the channel, and if you go to that URL that's in the description, just tell us where to send you that cheat sheet, and then you can learn all these different versions of G5. Let's go ahead and see this. I want to show you that on page 11. if I'm going to go to that section, I want to show you page 11 where we've gotten some progressions that you can go ahead and play on your own, just by looking at what are different ways for me to play these power chords. So you should be able to see that on page 11. In fact, I am one page to, I went to 12. Let's go back to 11. Power chords don't have to be played in the low position like you've just seen me do a minute or so ago. You can do them in the higher position like I've got over here. So earlier I showed you G, C, E5, D5 over A. But look at the PDF. Now you can see G, C5 over G, E5 over B, and then D5 over A. So I'm going to go ahead and just tune up real quick. And then I'm going to play those chords, which normally you would think power chords, you know, they are a little bit bland because they don't have that third. It's not really that easy to play a guitar part with it, but check this out. I'm going to play over that same progression we've done before, but I'm going to use these high versions of the power chords, and let's see what I can come up with. So you don't have to play power chords as the low notes. You can do it over there from a high perspective as well. So make sure you check that out. And then for power chords sometimes, and technically it will no longer be a power chord, but as you can see on the screen right now, I can also go ahead and put a third in the bass. Now what does that mean? Well, we checked this out before. I can play G, and then D as the higher note, or I can play D as the low note and G as the higher note, or I can leave G as the higher note and then I can play that B that we looked at earlier when we checked out the B note over here. So I can actually now play the B note together with that D note. And that's going to give me another kind of inversion, so it can be the B and a D together like that. That's going to give you a, what we call, actually, I wrote that down the wrong way. Let's go ahead. It's not a B and a D. It's the root. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that so we can just see what we're doing. I'm going to take this G note that before was there, and I move it all the way up there. So now I'm going to play G and B together as a chord, which looks like this. There's my G. So instead of G and D like we've looked, or instead of D and G, now I'm doing B and G. And then I can do this. Let's go to the PDF so you can go ahead and see those shapes in action. That's G over B. That goes so nicely into a C5, and then D over F sharp. That goes into a G. So let's do it again by elevation. So let me go ahead and pull that up for us. Then let's see if I'm connected via Bluetooth here. let's jam that a little bit to actually do a couple of songs to show you how you can go ahead and use these power chords in a different way. So I'm just going to go and search for the song. If you have any questions, now's a good time. Post questions in the chat. I'll happily answer any of those for you. And let me just Do It Again real quick. Elevation Worship, they have some cool guitar parts for the songs that they do. So there's Do It Again. And I'm just putting this up on the spot here. So we'll now see what key it is in. It might not be in the same keys that we've just done right here, right now. So let me go ahead and just see this. This one is in B flat. That doesn't matter because obviously when you're playing the songs, I'll hit play there, just need to quickly load it. Then we'll go ahead and find that section where they play, in this case, it's going to be E flat over G. Or B flat over D going to the E flat. Let's go ahead and find that section. It's a great part that, and then F over A that goes to the B flat. Now that's the cool thing when you learn these power chords. That's still a power chord, and you're still getting a lot of that punch and that oomph from the sound itself. But you can also do that instead of going B flat over D flat. You can also find other places to do those chords as well. So let's go ahead and go to the breakdown section over here. Continues building. Alright, so that's such a great riff, that riff, and all it is, it's in this instance, it's a B flat power chord, but there's my B flat, and then they put a D over the B flat, and then over there, right? So that those same chords is in a different key, but the same chords, you'll be able to see them over there. In this instance, it's just G over B, G over F sharp to G. So feel free to grab that PDF. The link is in the description and also in the comments section. So Alan is asking, and let's go to the main cam over here. So Alan is asking, I've noticed that praise and worship don't use low note power chords. Is Do It Again an exception? I think Do It Again is definitely one of the exceptions where the focus is a lot more on those lower chords. And I'm just going to add another song here real quick. I think it was All Hail King Jesus. But from a riff perspective, that is definitely not common, right? Because it's, and also Elevation Worship, they tend to, I just want to find which song is it. I think it's the Bethel music version of All Hail King Jesus. So that song, I think we did a version of that on the channel as well. And I'll play that for us shortly. I sometimes, for that song, in different sections, I just decide to go to power chords myself because I'm looking for that bigger sound. But then the power chords, to Alan's question, is not necessarily part of a riff. It's more bringing a foundation to a big section. So that tends to happen a lot, obviously, in worship. But that particular riff is definitely a bit more reminiscent of Elevation Worship. However, if you look at a song like House of the Lord by Phil Wickham, which is something we covered on our member stream earlier today, that doesn't use the same power chords, but I just want to find the big section where I can show that to you. Let's go ahead and do this section. So what they're going to be playing in this song is, and I'll go to the second cam so we can see that. What they'll be playing is they're going to do a B flat, F, and they call it E flat 2, which really is a power chord, but this B flat is a power chord, F is a quick power chord, and then that's E flat is a power chord. Listen to that. I'll let the verse play. I'll let the verse play and then go into that all-in chorus.
Up on that cross, then he rose up from that grave. My God, still rolling stones away. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is sharing in this place. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise.
So see, in a section like that, I'm going to boost a little bit more guitar, then I'll use power chords. Or sus2. So in that instance, the power chord section, and it's a great question there, is it's giving more substance and foundation from a chordal point of view. Whereas in Elevation Worship, it's part of an actual recognizable riff. Like if I play... then clearly that's a riff by Derek and the Dominoes where Eric Clapton played. It's a reminiscent riff, and the same way that... where that becomes a featured part of a song. So that's important for you when you composing guitar parts or playing parts. Are you playing power chords that just wants to make the song sound bigger, or are you playing power chords that become kind of a riff, a noticeable riff? And you know what my view is on guitar parts and riffs like that is, I just went to another song over here. My view on this is, when you play these kind of things, and a guitar part that is really big, sometimes a song with the lyrics, it calls for that, because if it sings like, for example, I'll show you here in the song All Hail King Jesus, there's a section where the band goes really big, and if you read the lyrics, all hail King Jesus, all hail the Lord of heaven and earth, all hail King Jesus, all hail the Savior of the world. So let's just imagine that you What would the soundtrack be when Jesus comes down from heaven to earth? If it was in what would the soundtrack be? So sometimes we watch movies and there's like epic soundtracks. I think that's going to be a pretty big sound. So what I've done in this song, I haven't played this in a long time, but let's just quickly do that as an exercise. I'll just show you. I'm going to go from this pre-chorus, right? So, okay, that's not going to work because Multitracks is playing that for us in B flat when it should really be E. So, so for this section, I just whipped out power chords when we play it live. There's that power chord we looked at before. So that's another example where there's not a riff that you will recognize like Layla or Do It Again, but when they sing All Hail King Jesus, you can just let rip with a big power chord like that because it's gonna interpret and reflect that moment in worship well because it's a very declarative, powerful kind of section. So that's when I love to use power chords like that. So Alan says, thank you, you're welcome. Sometimes it's part of a riff, sometimes it's just part of the vibe. So you got to kind of also decide how you're going to do that. Caster is asking a question. I'm thinking about doing conservatory and making music my job. Do you think it's possible to make a job out of music, especially in the worship side? Well, that's a great question. There's definitely people in the US and maybe in Australia that's doing that because of the the industry and so forth. But I would think that to make a full-time job out of that, I used to be a touring musician, not in the worship scene, but in, just a normal secular music scene. I was a hired gun, so artists would pay me to go on tour with them and record in the studios and play gigs and all those kind of things. In South Africa, it's very hard to do that as a living because it's a smaller country and there's even a smaller part of the population that listens to certain kinds of music. So I don't know what it's like where you're at, Caster. My typical feedback would be that unless you feel the Lord is calling you to do that and you've got an opportunity to get paid for what you do, then it's a different story. And if you're going to go on tour and recording and doing all those kind of things. But generally speaking, I think those jobs are a little bit few and far between, and that's why the worship scene is really comprised of volunteers so often, so where people have a job and then they go ahead and play in churches on the weekends and so forth. So it's not impossible, and as we know with God, all things are possible, which is awesome. It's not impossible, but it's not that easy. So if you've got a passion for worship, I would say get as good as you can, because the better you are, the easier it is to, get hired if you want to do it professionally. But yeah, I would say do what you can and then pray and see God's feedback for your life and whether that could be a thing. I just know that it's hard work, especially if you tour all the time. You're not really at home much. So it's not for the faint of heart. Let's just put it like that. Hopefully that gives you some feedback around there. And Costa says he lives in the Netherlands and in Europe. So yeah, I've one of my friends just moved to Scheveningen. I think I probably pronounced that in the wrong way. And I've got another friend somewhere else in the Netherlands. I forget the name now. That's Lawrence and Willie. So obviously in the Netherlands, I know there are churches there and there's the scene and so forth. But even there, I think you it'll be hard to find the numbers to kind of make that work. And even a friend of mine who's a pastor at a church, he's got another job because the funds is not necessarily there to support that. So I would look a little bit into what that would entail. I would say get as good as you can, find another place to earn your money and your living, and then be a volunteer, unless you feel the Lord is speaking to you and he's guiding you towards going that route. But it's not easy, and it not for the faint of heart to do it full time, making that your job. Jampu is saying, can you show us how to adjust overdrive to small and large hall? So for me, the overdrive is pretty much, and this is my preference, right? It won't work for everybody. Typically, the worship guitar sound is a little bit on a cleaner side. I come from a rock background, so I'm going to go as dirty as possible from the drive section without losing clarity. So you don't want to get into that scooped mids type of thing with, kind of chugging away and all that kind of stuff, which you play in hard rock and metal and so forth. That won't work in a church setting. So I'll go as dirty as I can without sacrificing clarity. You guys heard what the sound kind of sounded like today. It's full, it's dirty, it's overdriven, which is obviously what we mean by dirty. So my sound is as dirty as possible without losing clarity. But then for the hall, if I were to play in a bigger hall versus a smaller hall, then I would adjust my reverb. And by the way, next week we're doing our demo version on the Jet Revelation, their new reverb. But then in this instance, if I take my delay off, I've got a natural reverb going on here. Let's just see if I can put this on here. Then I can put a bigger delay, a decay, and a bigger, more mix. I would tweak my reverb. So we've got a detailed video on that. So I wouldn't necessarily adjust my drive for the hall, whether it's small or big. I would just go ahead and clean up my reverb so that my reverb doesn't make it messy. If you have too much reverb, it's quite easy for that definition and clarity to get lost. That's the big thing that you want in worship music, right? Is you want clarity and definition so that you can actually hear what's playing, and you want to do it in such a way that it's going to be able to find its place in the mix and also cut through. So the overdrive, dial that into taste based on your ears, clarity and definition, and use your reverbs and delays to adjust for the hall, whether it's small or big. That's how I would do that. And then Jampu saying, can you show us picking techniques? There is a video on our channel. I would quickly look for it. Where we did some techniques and I covered some warm-up exercises. So if you want to go ahead and let me just find the video. It's called Level Up Your Worship Guitar Skills with Warm-Up Exercises. I'll go ahead and find the URL and I'll post it for you guys in the comments. That's got a bunch of exercises that you'd be able to go ahead and use in your playing. But for the picking, I'd happily show you what I do. So that is the URL in case you want to go and find that warm-up. But I've basically gotten 3 picking styles that I use quite often. And they would be as follows. Hybrid picking, which is where I use my pick and my finger. So So hybrid picking is when you use your pick and your fingers together. So I will check out hybrid picking. Then I also use alternate picking sometimes, which is just... So just down up. depending on what you're going to play, you can do that with power chords, octaves. That's alternating now between down, up, just alternating between that. So either it's hybrid picking, or it's alternating down, up, picking, or I also do a pattern called a polyrhythmic pattern, which I do quite a lot, which is not consistent down, up strokes. It's down, up, down, 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 up. And we covered that on the channel as well, if you want to go and have a look. But those are my go-to picking patterns. Hybrid picking, alternate picking, and this polyrhythmic pattern. That's kind of the three different ways in which I do that. And if you check out that exercise in that video, Jampu, you'll be able to get a couple of cool things in and around that. So hopefully that's useful, guys. If you have any questions, we've got a few minutes left. I'm happy to answer any of those for you. But if you are in the position where you're looking for to experience a bit of a breakthrough in your playing, I would recommend go and check out our Worship Guitar Challenge by just going to worshipguitarchallenge.com. It's a 7-day challenge. It only costs $7. When you sign up for that, you'll get 7 days of lessons covering all of these essential things. Technique is involved there, like Jampu asked about today. There's chords. We talk about tone. We talk about rhythm. We talk about lead guitar playing and all of those kind of things to check out. So that's worshipguitarchallenge.com if you want to learn any about that. And then also if you go to worshipguitarmagazine.com, that's a free magazine. You can get on the iPad, Android devices, and the PDF version of as well. So feel free to check that out. That's a free resource, worshipguitarmagazine.com. And then Worship Guitar Challenge, $7 for 7 days of training with resources and a bunch of good things. And even access to our forum in our Worship Guitar Academy, where I'm happy to answer any of your questions. And then Jampu's also asking, is many solos good to go in worship songs? The thing is, from my point of view, if you go to like a blues concert or a rock concert, then the kind of solos you're going to listen to there is going to be very different to what you would play in church. I go with the scripture that says, sing unto the Lord a new song. So I like to sing on the guitar, and that's going to involve more melodic playing, but it's going to never be at the expense of like drawing attention to me or my playing, or taking attention away from the worship leader singing the lyrics, because that's ultimately the most important part, is where the word says minister to each other with psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. So we want to be able to hear the lyrics, put that front and center. We are singing the word, we are ministering to the Lord. But if I can add value to that from a melodic point of view on my guitar, then I do play melodically a lot in church, and it's received well with our worship leaders and our music directors and so forth, and it doesn't really step on toes and so forth in that regard. By calling attention away from the main thing to me, it must always be an outward thing, and we have to use our expression of who we are as people and what we like as music, because we are there's a form of expression. If you go and read the Psalms with King David, he's always expressing something, ministering to the Lord, but the goal for that is to lift the name of Jesus up high and to invite the congregation into an experience where they can minister to the Lord, where they can focus on God, where they can express their love and admiration and adoration to the Lord. So from that point of view, if a melodic guitar part, if whether you want to call it the solo, a melodic part, if that can serve the moment, then totally there's going to be space and place for that in worship. But it's about your heart attitude being right, and it's about reading the moment for seeing what is required here, so that I can serve the song, I can serve the moment, I can serve the congregation, and I can be a good steward with my opportunity, my gifts, and my resources and my talents. So that is the way that I approach that, and hopefully that answers the question for you there, Jampu. All right, these times always fly by so quickly. So we've at the top of the hour now, just gone past the top of the hour. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. And if you're watching a replay, please comment letting us know you're watching the replay. It helps more people find these videos. And if you want to go ahead and grab that cheat sheet that shows you all of those power chords we looked at today, you can find that in the description. And I'll go ahead and put it in the pinned comment as well. Go and check that out. And join us for the Worship Guitar Challenge. If you're looking for a breakthrough, you can go ahead and read all about that on the channel right there. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's been awesome seeing you guys again. And I shall see you next week, Friday, 5 hours earlier, which is going to be more of a Australian-friendly time zone. Vicky, great to see you. And everyone else on the stream, I wish you health and vitality and a great time with the Lord in His presence if you're going to be playing worship or going to church this weekend, and really reminding ourselves that worship is a lifestyle, so we don't have to just leave that for Sundays. We can worship the Lord at any time and place. And so I wish you all the best with that, and I look forward to seeing you guys on that next time. Much love to you. Have a good one, and we shall see you on the next stream. Bye-bye.